guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to New Gardcity here on City Skylines. Today, big project. We are completely revamping the suburbs here out on the east side of the city, and we are turning the little districts here of Lafayette and Shoreham into a big suburban paradise. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the whole city looks actually once this new build style is complete. Yeah, let's get straight into actually talking about what you're seeing on the screen here. So basically, I didn't like the way that Lafayette just kind of turned around on itself. That avenue that we had that just double backed on itself, that didn't really work for me. I mean, any city really. A couple of cities do have like little suburban areas that do sort of enclose everything inside it. You know, you have gated communities and things like that. And especially over in the States, you do have new suburbs popping up where it's literally just a road that does a loop around and then all the streets branch off that. That's not really what we have here in the UK. We do have roads that do like loop around here, there and everywhere, but mostly with areas of cities and towns, it tends to be one flows into the other quite consistently. Whereas with New Gardcity, it was more of the American approach than the I should say, rather than the UK/European style. So there's nothing against that, by the way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it wasn't really in fitting with what New Gardcity is supposed to be, which is a UK-inspired city. So because of that, a little bit of a revamp going on here. The tram is also being extended through this area. Buses will also be returning in the not too distant future. The railway will come through here as well. I haven't actually factored in where the railway station is going to go yet, so there might be a little bit of chopping and changing going on still. Although I have there is an area where I think the railway could go, thinking about it, but I'll see how easy that actually is to bring in. But yeah, usual thing, I'm very happy with the results of this. I did post a screenshot of it on Discord the other day. I'm not sure how many people actually saw it because it was a bit out of the blue really, so fair enough on that. But yeah, I really do like how the city is starting to look now, particularly on this eastern side. We have places like Old Circus, which is the Magic Roundabout, which now has the extra magic added to it after the last episode. Ignore what I'm doing with this road, by the way. It was an experiment. It failed epically. You could say that it's because of a limitation of the game. I was trying to make a cul-de-sac here where cars would drive in, turn around and drive out again, but because of the zoning, the way zoning works, and the fact that this is a mod that just alters the aesthetics really rather than the actual mechanics of the road, it didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. So I will be replacing this. You can see there even I kind of noticed. So I'll replace that with a normal road. Might put a little loop at the end. But yeah, I lost my train of thought now. What was I talking about? Something to do with the city. Do you know what? I can't remember. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the city looks with all these new suburbs, with all the new transport links as well. We've had some really good ideas suggested in the last few weeks. You know, old abandoned railway lines, for example, is something that I was a big fan of, and that will be coming very soon. In fact, this part of the city, particularly around Lafayette, because Lafayette is meant to be like the old town. That sounds like a really good idea. I also had the idea for they have this in Dubai of all places, but heritage buses. They have so in Blackpool, for example, here in the UK, we have the heritage trams that operate on what is now the modern filed tram network, and you know, it adds a little bit of operational interest, gets tourists through the door, that kind of thing. Dubai have a similar system but with buses. So I think I'm trying to remember if they're old Route Masters or if they're old. I can't remember what type of bus they are actually. I think Hong Kong have a similar thing with buses and trams. So you know, it's an international thing for sure. And pretty much every city really with a bit of a history will have a heritage bus or a heritage train or something operating. We don't have that here. But considering Lafayette is meant to be part of the old town, the original Gardcity, I think it'll be a good candidate for kind of like a tourist bus. So it'll operate as a normal bus. You can actually have tourist buses in the game now, so maybe I'll do one of each, but use old buses. See if I can find an old heritage bus on the Steam Workshop and use that to operate the route. I think that will look really cool, but we'll see about that. We will see. There's a suggestion though. If you guys like it, feel free to comment down below that you like it, and we'll see it happen. So yeah, to talk about what's going on the screen right now. First of all, this is a first first episode of a two-parter. I don't know why I struggled to say that then. This is the first episode of a two-parter, so next week's episode will be the conclusion. Overall, it was 2 hours of footage. It took me a very long time to build this, and also what you don't see is before I started recording, I spent quite a long time just going over this area and deciding what kind of things I was going to build. That being said, I did improvise a little bit in some areas. For example, there are 2 shopping areas that are being added today. They haven't got names yet. If you'd like to name them, feel free to suggest down below. I might even make it a Patreon tier reward. We shall see about that. But again, I'm kind of... Every game I play at the moment, I'm experimenting with different ideas and different styles. And this is definitely a good example of that, I would say, where things like this road I'm building here, for example, it's a little loop. It's meant to be like a little enclosed suburb that kind of separates the 2 main roads from each other. Same thing here, just a little loop there with an extra road added on. No 2 street is the same. No 2 streets are the same in this area of the city, which I really, really like, because, you know, in my hometown, and lots of hometowns actually in the home counties of the UK, if you don't know what the home counties are, it's basically all the counties that surround London. And I'm in Hertfordshire, so one of the originals, I believe. I think I might be wrong there though. You've got the actual originals, which don't exist anymore. Things like Middlesex, which only exists in name now, not in jurisdiction. I'm trying to get that word out as well. It's Monday morning. Give me a break, guys. I can't speak at the best of times. Never mind on a Monday morning. But yeah, everything was built at different times. So my hometown has an old town, but it also has a new town, and the new town even goes right the way back from the 40s right up to, you know, last year new houses were built. And all the streets are different designs, all the houses are different designs, and I really like the quirkiness that it adds. And you do see, again, you see this all around the world. It's not just exclusive to the UK. So when it comes to building New Gardcity here, a lot of inspiration I take from this part of the city comes from my hometown and, you know, other areas around my hometown that I've been to. So it might not be that prototypical for where you are in the UK, for example, but from where I am in the home counties, it's pretty spot on. And lots of the other home counties I've been to as well, it's very, very similar. But again, feel free to comment down below where you... it's Monday morning. Feel free to comment down below whereabouts in the country you're from, and if I'm close to the design there as well, because I am interested in knowing. You know, it's one thing I love about the world in general, really, is you know, you cross a border and suddenly everything's different. You know, we all do things in our own different, unique way, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a very good thing. I've always said, you know, especially when it comes to gaming, there's no real right or wrong way of doing things, and I think that applies to lots of things in life. So yeah, feel free to comment down below and let me know whereabouts in the world you are, and how your country or your town or your city, wherever it might be, how you guys do things. Because there are lots of things around the world actually that I will be using as inspiration for other parts of this project as well. So I'm always interested in getting new ideas and things like that. So this area you're looking at here is going to be the first of the 2 shopping areas, if I recall correctly. Each one, again, is built differently to the other. So one of them is using the original parking lot roads that I've been using in and around the city. They work as well, that's the other good thing. So some of the other ones I've placed, especially when I was learning how to use them, I didn't do a great job of it, I'll be honest. Now I've kind of got my head around how they work a little bit more. I feel a lot more confident using them. And I think it shows, actually, at the end of this episode, that, you know, I'm a lot more confident with just the game in general, really, just experimenting with different ideas. This is something I wouldn't have built before. Maybe on a stream if someone suggested it, but I wouldn't have come up with it off my own back. So I'm kind of surprised, impressed, happy that I was able to come up with this idea myself. But it's adding a bit of variety, because again, you know, I have shopping districts in the city, but most people wouldn't drive right across the city centre just to go to a, you know, cash and carry type place. So to have these kind of more localized areas for shopping. We do have other residential areas in the city, places like Hunway, St Michael, Halliday, but it's only really when you get to Lafayette and Shoreham out on this side, and maybe Bankside to the northwest of the city, that you start to get into that proper suburban area where it's all about you know, semi-detached housing and 30-mile-an-hour speed limits and corner shops. So we're in that part of the city now where it's a lot more suburban, it's a lot less urban. You know, you see how I'm doing these road designs as well with basically one lane most of the way with an extra lane for turning. And again, it might not be the best way of doing things necessarily, but from what I've seen, I've done a few like test sessions with traffic and whatnot, and it seems to be okay. So we will see about that still. But yeah, again, I keep losing my train of thought. That's not very good, is it? What was I saying? Oh yeah, the shopping district. So to actually have a car parking area, first and foremost, is very important because traffic and all that. Although this is a very bike central part of the city, I will say that. So there's a lot more cycle lanes. Public transport as well will also make a difference when that comes in. Especially with the underground and the buses. The tram, you can kind of see where the tram goes. I haven't finished the tram properly yet. I do add a little loop at the end of the next episode just to test out the tram. But again, the tram's going to have a bit of an overhaul because the station I built in Guard Square, I'm not that happy with how it copes with huge amounts of trams going through. So I will be replacing that with another tram hub, which will also include metro. And with that, I'm going to take out the metro platforms from under Guard Square Station itself and actually have the tram and the metro be a single hub, the bus be a single hub, and the railway be a single hub. Because that way I can use a different design for Guard Square Station, which I think, because I'm now rejigging all of the railway infrastructure around the city as well, I think another design for the station will actually work better than the one I've currently got. As much as I like the one I've currently got, I'm not getting any regional traffic still. Just no trains from outside the city are using it right now, which I'm not really sure why that is. So again, a rethink is in order, but it's it's no problem. I'll experiment and see what works and what doesn't. This is the other shopping area that I'm building, and actually I'm not a big fan of the parking lot roads in the way that it works, but I am a big fan of it in that you can zone on it. So I was able to add some commercial, and I was able to just plop down some buildings beside the road. And what else was I able to do? Oh yes. So when I did the parking lot roads, I basically put the buildings down first on a different road and then use move it to put them in position. Whereas here I was able to put the buildings down right next to the road and then just use move it to move them a bit more where I wanted them, actually on the road itself. So a little bit closer to the road, a little bit further away from the road, wherever it might be. Again, it's one of these things. I think once I'm used to how it works, I'll do a lot better with it. But the variety of parking spaces is a little lacking for both sets, by the way, not just one or the other, but for both sets. For example, big parking lots you can see here. You've got 5 spaces double-sided and 5 spaces single-sided, and you've got 1 space double-sided and 1 space single-sided, and nothing in between. Actually, the 1 I should say is 3. It's not actually 1. It looks like 1, but it's actually 3. Likewise with the other parking lot mod, it's basically you've got disabled parking, which is 2 spaces, then you've got electric vehicle charging spots, which is 3 spaces, and then you've got the single spaces, I think, or they might be in 3s again, and then you've got the 5 ones, but you haven't got, there's no variety, there's no 2s, there's no 4s, there's no 6s, there's no double-sided ones. You have to place down everything manually, and I kind of wish there was a way of snapping it to the road, which you can do with big parking lots, but you can't do with the other one, which makes life a little bit difficult. This pause here, by the way, is me just going on the Steam Workshop page for big parking lots and seeing how they actually work. So the way it does work is you've got the border road, which you see me place down first, and then you've got these filler roads which go in the gaps, and then the idea then being you place the spaces on the filler. I think there is now a version of the border that does include a place to put spaces in, which is good. But yeah, overall, I'm still trying to get my head around it, I suppose. It does look nice once it's done. The other thing I wasn't a big fan of is the I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's like little planters that you get with the mod, but when you place trees in them, the trees disappear. So that's something else I'm not a huge fan of. Maybe there is a way of making the tree appear still. I don't know, but I'm getting my head around it. As I said, the final result isn't too bad. I think it works quite well. It functions as well, which is very, very nice. I think I place a Waitrose and a Sainsbury's in this section. So basically, supermarkets. And I believe the ones I placed down act as parks rather than actual stores. So I might change that and see if I can make them work as stores, so people will actually work there, goods will get delivered here. Actually, I think, no, maybe goods do get delivered here, thinking about it, because I remember watching trucks driving in. Maybe that is a thing. But yeah, even at this point, I haven't got the roads close enough together, so it's still a little bit iffy. Still not a massive fan. But as I said, the main thing is the end result is very good, and that's what's important here. Likewise with the other car park that you'll see me build in a second. All the spaces work, cars don't float like they do at the stadium or in Varsity Island for that matter, or they don't sink into the ground like they do at the airport. And now that I've kind of got my head around this a little bit more, one of my future projects, which might actually be the next project after this one, thinking about it, I'm very, very tempted to go and rebuild the airport and do it properly with proper terminal buildings, using the modular terminal buildings, better runways. I think I'm going to put the terminal buildings in the center of the airport as well, rather than on the edge like they currently are. So when you arrive at the airport, you'll drive through a tunnel underneath the taxiways, a bit like Heathrow, and then you'll get to the terminals in the center, a bit like Heathrow's terminals 1, 2 and 3, or as they're now called 2 and 3, because the numbering system doesn't matter anymore. And then we'll have car parks in there and stuff like that. So the big car park that's currently outside the airport, I think that might get repurposed. Something else I was going to do actually is rebuild the theme park that we've got. See if there's any more assets that I can add to that. So maybe we'll just reuse the car park for that. Failing that, we'll just turn it into another part of Plint Bridge and put more office space down, because I think that will work out quite well too. So yeah, attempt number 3 I think this is now at building this car park, and eventually you see there I just get fed up and decide to bulldoze the road there that was in the way, and rebuild this properly. And I don't know why this was snapping so weirdly. It just made no sense. And I'm sure there's a way of adjusting it better. I don't know what that way is. So I was fighting it a little bit, I'll be honest. I did eventually, yeah, just give up and built it like this. And this is actually the shape that it ends up being. So it's not all doom and gloom. I think the Waitrose actually gets put in that little L shape. So again, I think it works out fine. There's no issues there. And then connect this a little bit up. Oh no, I just remembered actually. It's a Waitrose and a Co-op that I built. That's right, because the Co-op goes just at the entrance on the left-hand side, and then the Waitrose is in front. Not sponsored, by the way. Just mentioning the names of what the stores are. You got to be so careful on YouTube these days. You mention a brand name and people think you're a sellout. Yeah. Okay, placing those spaces down there, that was a good example of what I meant about sometimes placing these spaces down can be a little bit finicky. And even here, you can see I haven't quite got it spot on. I think I do rebuild this little section as well. Either that or I just fill it in and forget it exists. I think I end up doing that, thinking about it. I'm trying to remember. It's not too bad. I'm quite happy with it, as I said. And I will talk about something else that's happened actually, because after I recorded these episodes, I did try and record another episode, which was me building the start of the Gardcity Orbital road, which is the main motorway that will run around the city. I did finish it, you know, that project is built, but because I had issues with my PC that day, I don't know whether it was just OBS being weird or because I was trying to watch the football on my PC at the same time. But basically, Streamlabs, I recorded for an hour, finished recording, hit the record button again to stop the recording. It didn't stop recording, it started recording another video and deleted the original one and then corrupted the new one. So that footage has all been lost. But I will show you in the next, not next episode, but the episode after, when I start the next big build. I will very briefly show you what that looks like now. It's literally just the motorway, a new junction coming off the main motorway from out of town. Outer city. It comes in past the terminal and all that good stuff. Then it branches off. One side goes to the anti-clockwise direction of the motorway, and then the other side goes to the new clockwise direction, which just skirts around the edge of Shoreham. I've got quite a complex interchange there, and then it also connects up to the main road that currently terminates at a junction with the motorway again. So that's now been extended to a massive roundabout which connects up to the end of that section of the motorway. So it's a bit like the M25 in that it's not going to be a complete circle. It's technically It's technically a spiral. It's like the Circle Line in London, where it just comes to a dead end, and then you can either go left or right, and that's how you loop around. So I think that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, coming to the end of this first parking lot build now. The way I've edited this video is just to literally snip it in half and turn it into 2 time lapses. So there is a very good chance that it cuts off at a really bad time. So I apologise if that is the case, but next episode we'll literally pick up where this one left off. I will record these both one after the other, so there will be no confusion there. And yeah, I think, as I said, again, I'm happy with this build. I'm really happy with this build. Even like building little shopping places like this is something I wouldn't normally do. So to build this one, this is the supermarket necessity type shopping place. But the other one I build, the one you'll see me build in a second, is more of a boutique type place. So I think I put a Burberry down and a couple of other boutique shops, a little shopping arcade, a couple of restaurants, including a beach hut themed one, I believe. But I could have got that one wrong. In fact, I think it is from the beach. What was it? Parks that added the beaches, like the beach huts and things like that. I think it was that one. We'll see. But yeah, both very different. Both me experimenting, not really knowing what I'm doing, but both pretty good, I'd say. So nothing bad there. That's me realizing that the trees don't appear if you move them into the planters there. So I've just left them as planters for now. There might be some maybe flower props that I can move in to those areas. I haven't looked yet. I'll probably look at some point in the future. This as well, I kind of messed this up. You know, you have 2 junctions way too close together. That's a little bit better. You can imagine people coming down here to do their weekly shop though, which is kind of cool. I do like that. And again, most of these roads, they are 1 lane in each direction with the chevrons, with the hatching in the middle. But then for turning there's a left lane and a right lane, just to try and split the traffic up a little bit more. There aren't many traffic lights around this area, just the big roads have the traffic lights. So it's mainly just, you know, common sense when you're driving around. And I know we hear that term a lot at the moment, and it doesn't always mean what we think it means. But, you know, in this game, for example, you kind of trust people driving around. They're not going to crash. So it's all good. A couple more streets going in here now as well. This whole area, basically, between Shoreham and Lafayette has now been filled with commercial and residential of some form. And in fact, the metro, the underground that you can see spurring off, that currently ends just at a dead end, that will form the border for a new science park office area that has been added. That was part of the failed recording, unfortunately, so I can't show you me building it, but I can show you it finished, which is also good. And the other border for that is the motorway, so you can kind of get an idea as to where that goes now and how it looks, which is also good. Another little U shape here, but this one does connect up to the main road there, just to make it different from the other one. You can imagine that these 2 neighbourhoods were built at the same time though, so chances are same architect, same plans, just altered slightly for the locale. So I think again it makes sense. It works really well. And again, to prove that, you know, these houses were all built at different times in the real world, my street has 2 different designs of houses from one side of the road to the other. So on our side, it's front doors on the front, as you'd expect, it's front door. You know, bathroom at the top of the stairs, that kind of thing. Whereas the houses opposite us, they have... Oh, we also have the kitchens at the front. Whereas the houses opposite us, they have living rooms at the front. The front door is actually on the side. The stairs are in a completely different place. And it's uniform. So all the houses on our side are all pretty much the same. All the houses on the other side are pretty much the same. There are a couple of exceptions. And then right up the end of the road, it's all bungalows and terraces. So again, built at very, very different times. But it just adds flavour to it, really. And that's something that I wanted to replicate in Gardcity, is a little bit of extra flavour. Make it look very nice and very lovely. Right, that pretty much does it for this episode, guys. Next episode, as I said, will be the continuation of this. It'll mainly be adding in the zoning and also the second commercial area, and also a little bit of theme management and stuff like that as well. So until next time, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you enjoyed the series, drop some comments down below with ideas for future episodes. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. Have a good week, guys, and until next time, I will see you soon.